In August of 1945, two atomic bombs were dropped on Japan. 3 days apart, on two cities almost 200 miles apart. More than 100,000 people were killed. One man was present for both. Not nearby, not on the outskirts. Both times, he was around 2 miles from where the bomb went off. He lived through the first one, was badly injured, and then traveled home, straight into the second one. His name was Tsutomu Yamaguchi. And what he did with the rest of his life is the real story. In 1945, Yamaguchi was 29 years old. He was an engineer. He designed oil tankers. He worked for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries in Nagasaki. That summer, he was sent to Hiroshima for a 3-month work trip. He had a wife at home and a baby son a few months old. And by early August, the job was finished. August 6th was going to be his last day in the city. He was packed. He was going home. That morning, he was walking to the shipyard when he realized he'd left something behind at the office. So he turned around to go get it. It was a completely ordinary morning. It was 8:15. He looked up and saw a plane high overhead. And then he saw something fall from it. Then the sky turned white. The blast threw him off his feet and into the ground. He was about 2 miles from where the bomb detonated. He was temporarily blinded. One of his eardrums ruptured. He had severe burns across his upper body. The city he had been walking through was gone. Tens of thousands of people were killed in that instant. Yamaguchi found 2 co-workers who had also survived. They spent that night in an air raid shelter in the ruins. And the next morning, they did the only thing that made sense. They went to the station and got on a train home. Think about what that journey was. He was burned, half-deaf, wrapped in bandages. Traveling almost 200 miles across a country at war. Having just seen something no one had a word for yet. Nobody knew what an atomic bomb was. There was no news yet, no explanation. He arrived home on August 8th. He saw his wife and his son. They were alive and safe. He had his burns treated and bandaged. And the next morning, August 9th, he went to work. Which sounds unbelievable now, but it was wartime. You showed up. That's what people did. His home was in Nagasaki. That morning, he was called in to see his supervisor. They wanted to know what had happened in Hiroshima. So he told them in detail. He described the plane, the light, the blast. He told them one single bomb had destroyed an entire city. And his supervisor did not believe him, which is completely understandable. Nothing like that had ever existed. His boss told him he must be confused, or hurt worse than he realized. One bomb cannot destroy a city. That's not possible. And at that exact moment, the room filled with the same white light. Yamaguchi later said he thought the mushroom cloud had somehow followed him from Hiroshima. The second bomb detonated about 2 miles away. The windows blew in. The building came apart around them. And there is one detail here that I keep thinking about. The men in that room had just spent several minutes listening to him describe exactly what this felt like. So when the light came, they knew what to do. They took cover the way he had described. His story may have protected the people who didn't believe it. He survived the second bomb and went to look for his family. His wife had gone out that morning to get burn ointment for him, which meant she wasn't at home when it happened. She and their infant son survived. The family spent the following week in a shelter. On August 15th, Japan surrendered. The war was over. But for his family, the consequences lasted decades. Yamaguchi lost hearing in one ear for the rest of his life. He dealt with the effects of radiation exposure for years. His wife had been caught in the black rain that fell afterward. Both his wife and his son later died of cancer. This is important because people call his story lucky. He survived twice, but he buried his family. For most of his life, Yamaguchi did not talk about any of it. He worked, he raised his family, he kept it to himself. Part of that was his family's concern. His daughter later explained their worry. They were afraid he looked too healthy. That if a man survived 2 atomic bombs and seemed fine, people might conclude the bombs weren't that dangerous, which would undermine everything other survivors were saying. So he stayed quiet for decades. And then, in his 80s, he changed his mind. He started speaking publicly about what he had seen. He wrote a memoir. He wrote poetry about it. He appeared in a documentary that was screened at the United Nations. He wrote a letter to the President of the United States asking for nuclear weapons to be abolished. In 2009, the Japanese government formally recognized him as the only person officially confirmed to have survived both, though researchers believe around 165 people lived through both. He died the following year, in 2010, at the age of 93. There's a reason his story matters beyond how improbable it is. Because the odds aren't really the point. He was an ordinary engineer on an ordinary work trip. He turned back for something he'd forgotten. He got on a train to see his wife and his baby. None of it was a decision about survival. It was just a man trying to get home. And he spent the last part of his life explaining what he saw to anyone who would listen. He said he believed he survived twice for a reason, so that he could tell people what these weapons actually do. There are very few people left who remember those 2 days, which is exactly why he decided to stop being quiet. If you like the stories nobody tells properly, you're in the right place. Subscribe. We do this every week.